for what you want. Reject rejection. Give up any idea of failure. Just persevere until you continue on until you produce the result you want.
The law of attraction is a good starting point for thinking about how to improve your life. You want to align your thoughts and your beliefs with what you want your life to be. But the law of attraction itself, by itself, won't allow you to achieve the abundance that you need. There are certain steps that you need to take. And these steps are all incorporated in what we call the meta secret. And the meta secret isn't one solitary method or one solitary system. The meta secret is a combination of tools, methodologies, and ways to understand the world and ways to understand how we can change the world.
Until I started looking at who I was and who I wanted to become, nothing changed. Because every time I would look and I would blame something else or blame somebody else or just look in a different direction that was not inside, I would get more of what I was creating. Because every time I created something, people would react to that. Every time I took an action that was blaming this or blaming that, people would react to that. And you know what? And I would react to their reactions. And I was creating an environment that was busy instead an environment that supported wealth and abundance.
If you look around, there's nothing but the abundance everywhere that you see. You see the trees growing. You see businesses happening. This is wealth. This is prosperity. This is abundance. If it's not happening for you, it's because unconsciously you have beliefs, counter intentions, negativity that actually blocks it from coming into your life. It's actually working the law of attraction all the time, but it's happening on an unconscious level. The abundance is there. The wealth is there. But if you don't feel it, if you're not expressing it, it's because inside of you, you may feel you don't deserve it. This is part of the unconscious work that has to be done in order for you to feel on a conscious, real, live, earth level what's happening with abundance and prosperity. Abundance, wealth is your natural birthright. If you're not feeling it, it's because of your unconscious beliefs.
The law of correspondence, simply stated, is as above, so below, as within, so without. The law of correspondence is simply attesting to the fact that we are human creatures, physically present, but we have minds and we have spirits. So we exist in more than just one plane. We might even be multidimensional beings with multidimensional thoughts, and there may be more to you than just meets the eye.
If you want to be wealthy on the outside, you first have to become wealthy on the inside. As above, so below. As within, so without. First, you have to become wealthy in your thoughts. Then you become wealthy in your outer expression of that. You have to have a wealthy attitude. You have to have a wealthy, abundant thought form about who you are and what's possible. And when you have that, it will start to manifest outside of you.
If a person wants to take a quantum leap rather than incremental steps, they have to begin by understanding that they can do that. There's a marvelous little book. It's called U Square. Now think of what that means. If you square a number, you multiply the number by the number, don't you? Well, when you square, you multiply your potential by your potential. It's astronomical. I mean, you just go off the board. The man that wrote the book, Price Pritchett, he said, when you're looking at a quantum leap, he says it looks ridiculous, utterly. But in retrospect, it looks like a natural thing to happen. It was without effort. It's with ease. And that's what quantum leaps are. What you're really doing is getting rid of limitations in your mind, and you're letting your mind just take off and build a great big idea. And you start before you're ready. You defy what the masses are controlled by. You've got to move into a space all of your own. understand you're working with an infinite power that's omnipresent. It's with you all the time. It's closer than your breath. And you get in harmony with that and just release all thoughts of limitation and make up your mind you're going to take and just compound your effectiveness. That's essentially what I did. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I didn't understand quantum leap, but I took my income from $4,000 a year to $175,000 in a year. And then it went over $1 million. And I had no understanding of what happened. Now understand this. I had been raised to believe that if you don't have a good formal education, that you'd never be able to do what I did. If you don't have experience, you can never do what I did. I had 2 months high school and I had a bad work record. But my income went from $4,000 to over $1 million a year. And you can do that. And the first step is understanding that you can do it. Quit listening to people tell you you can't. And start to see yourself doing something really big. Write it out on a sheet of paper. Begin by saying, I am so happy and grateful now that I have turned my annual income to a monthly income.
It's not just about attracting things to you. It's about learning to trust what you're attracted to. You are naturally going to be attracted to certain kinds of people, to certain movies over other movies, to places you want to vacation versus other places, to workshops you want to take or books you want to read versus other books. Trust what you're attracted to. It will take you where you need to go, and it may not always make sense to you. I remember going to a seminar and there was a woman teaching about how to triple your income in a year. And at that time, I was probably more like a hippie than I am the entrepreneur that I am today. And my wife, who was against making money at the time, thought it was evil when you should be in total service and all this. She said, I can't believe you're going to that workshop where they're going to teach you about how to make all this money. I thought you were more spiritual than that. I said, honey, I don't know why I'm attracted to that workshop. I'm going to go there. So I sat down. The woman next to me, we started talking. It turns out she was a veterinarian. And it turns out that our cat had feline leukemia at the time. And I started talking to her about that. And she said, well, I'm the world's expert on feline leukemia. And I said, well, I've heard there's no cure for that. She said, no, there actually is a cure. And I can teach it to you. And so she called my veterinarian, told him what to do. My cat lived for many, many more years than the local vet thought it should. But see, I was trusting my attraction to go to that seminar, and it led me in a path that saved my cat's life, which was not where my conscious thinking was, but it was a very important goal to me to keep my cat alive. Those kind of things will start to happen.
Most people are uncertain about something. They're uncertain about their next step. Here's your message. Do it. Do it. Whatever you're uncertain about, do it. Take the step. You will learn so much more. You'll get so much further faster by actually getting in the game than doing it, than thinking about it forever. One of my sayings is, one step in the right direction is worth 100 years of thinking about it.
The law of correspondence, the law of mentalism, and the law of vibration all combine to help you understand that the notion of wealth is arbitrary. You're always wealthy in comparison to someone else. You choose a person to compare yourself with, and your wealth or your level of wealth with, and then you decide at that point to be happy with the situation or to be unhappy, and therefore change it. All wealth is subjective. Understand this, and you understand that there's an ebb and a flow to your finances. The more comfortable you are with how you interact with the world, with the value you give in the world, with the service or the product that you give the world, then you begin to realize your place in the world. And by realizing this, you participate in the abundance that is all around you at every moment and at every time. It is all yours. From the beginning, it was yours. Until the end, it will always be yours.
the secret to relationships is to know that the universe is giving you love right now. When you give love to the universe, when you give love to another, you will receive love in turn. Love is the essence and nature of relationship.
Relationships are a two-way street. It's not just about taking and giving and receiving and getting what you want, but it's also about giving. I like to say that each person should take 100% responsibility for the quality of the relationship. Because if you take 50-50, whenever it's not working, it's going to be their 50%. So if you take 100% and act as if everything in the relationship, you're creating it, and when it isn't exactly what you want it to be, say, how am I creating that? Take that curiosity and use it as a tool. And when you get the answer like, I'm not coming home on time, I'm not listening, I'm not doing this, then you have the opportunity to shift and do the thing that produces relationship. A friend of mine wrote a book called Making Relationships Work. And the idea is there is work in making the relationship work. So be willing to do the work. Give as much as you get. The more you give, the more will come back.
To have a better relationship with anyone in your life, first you begin by having a relationship with yourself. Treat yourself the way you would your very dearest friend. Love yourself regardless of all the crazy shenanigans you pull. Believe me, I do this every day. So if you want a better relationship with someone else, love yourself.
Relationships are part of what the universe is giving you as a gift. The first and most important relationship is the one with yourself. When you love yourself, you heal yourself. When you love yourself, you become a magnet that people want to hang around, and you begin to attract other people and new relationships. It's all based on love. It's all based on non-judgment. It's all based on total acceptance. The universe has a relationship with you right now, and the universe wants to give you more. Are you ready to accept it?
The concept that I can't live without you is a tragic statement to me. The idea that I need somebody else to complete my life, I need somebody else or my life's not worthwhile is a very sad statement, and I think someone needs to take a good look at themselves when they say that. When you start to think that thought, stop for a second. Realize life is full of stuff, and sometimes stuff is potholes, and sometimes stuff is bridges are out ahead, and sometimes there's a detour in life. I heard somebody once say that sometimes the most beautiful scenes in life are the ones we observe on a detour. Have you ever gone on a detour and realized that your life wouldn't have been the same if you hadn't taken that twist or that turn in your life? Next time stuff happens, take a look. Maybe there's something better right around the corner.
The law of cause and effect tells us that there's no such thing as coincidences. Everything that happens in this world happens because of a reason. Someone, somewhere, created a cause. It may not be something you are aware of. It may not be something we can even begin to realize or see at this level. But at some level, someone, somewhere, or a group of people, even us, we have created it. And so as a result, we see the effect. We see the effect around us. We see the effect everywhere on this planet.
Everyone asks me, Jay, how in the world can I have a better, a happier, a richer, a more joyous relationship? And it's very simple. First thing is you got to slow down enough to be externally focused. It's all about them. The more interested and externally focused you are on the other person, the more extraordinary their experience will be, and the more naturally they'll reciprocate it. The second, and you're watching me, and I've got a serious side, and you know that, but you got to get in touch with your childlike sense of curiosity, of innocence. The third is you've got to be in the here and now, and that's so trite and said so often, But being in the here and now means connecting deeply and being aware of what people are saying and looking at them and being responsive to their feedback and their mannerisms. And the last thing and the easy thing is to, again, as I said earlier, enjoy the process. We are so busy, so stressed in our life, trying to get from one thing to another, trying to multitask, that the greatest way to have wonderful relationships is to commit. Commit, not just the time, but your being, to being there, to connecting.
For me, the meta secret to relationships is to be the person you're looking for. Whatever it is you're out there looking for, be that and give it away. If you're looking for someone who's loving and kind and compassionate and generous, you need to be loving, kind, and compassionate and generous. Whatever it is you want, you've got to be that and express that out into the universe. And whatever you express out is going to come back multiplied.
The meta secret of relationships is for you to develop an identity that brings out the best in your partner and helping your partner to be the best that they can in order to bring out the best of who you are.
Criticism seems to be a big problem. If you are really secure in yourself and somebody criticizes you, it isn't going to bother you. Now, if you're insecure and somebody criticizes you, it's really going to bother you. You see, 9 out of 10 times, the person that's criticizing you really wants to help you. They just haven't really learned how to communicate effectively. But let's not let somebody else's criticism or their way of helping us shake us. If we're solid in our own self, and we really understand ourselves, then we can handle it and it won't be any problem. If criticism really rattles your chain or rattles your cage or really upsets you, it's not the criticism that upsets you. It's not the other person's opinion that upsets you. It's how you react to it. And you see, if you were really solid within yourself, you would respond to it. You'd thank them for it and say, but I really don't choose to do that. Or you'd say, well, thank you. That's probably a good idea. I'll try it. But they're not going to knock you off track. So it goes back to have a good, sound self-image, a good image of yourself. Maxwell Maltz